the Ukrainian government is willing to discuss, at least in part.
Yes, actually, but this violence can be finished for me due to one moment, due to moment of collapse of Russian economy. I still think that the problem in Russian economy is the same thing that actually make a dot in the story of the Soviet Union. No one attacked Soviet Union, but it disappeared due to economy. The same situation could be now. Russia like to say that everything okay in their economy, but now we have first quarter. They have the deficit of their budget practically 3 rubles. They expected to have deficit 1.3 at the end of this year, but they have practically 3 trillion after first quarter. It means that really they have problems, and the task for Ukraine just to stay at least till the end of this year, because closer to the end of this year there will be economic problems in Russia, and Russia will not think about war versus Ukraine because they need to first of all secure their economy, their country, because economic problems mean threats of large quantity of internal conflicts and of separatism of many Russian regions. And after that, Ukraine will not war against Ukraine will not be their priority, and that is a chance for Ukraine to receive final peace. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Osman, earlier in our discussions, we talked about, or you talked about, the idea that Putin's truce is an attempt to preempt international pressure amid the stalled peace talks. What's the next move, I suppose, here for the Russians to, move forward with peace talks, or are they going to continue to attempt to show these minor concessions, like these little truces here and there?
Oh, this is not even a concession, Graham. This is just a maneuver by President Putin. And I think President Putin would actually love it, if the Ukrainians decide not to accept his gesture and his ceasefire. He wishes that this would happen because it will make the Ukrainians appear to the Americans as a party that is not interested in Trump's peace initiative. By that, they are injuring Trump's pride and ego. And Putin is a master manipulator, and I think we can all agree on that. And what will follow that will be a spring offensive, that is a spring-summer offensive by the Russian army. Many reports, including even by American and European military and defense institutes, that the Russians are mobilizing troops and equipment in Zaporozhye and in the Sumy region, as well as southern Kharkiv, in order to launch new offensives, capture more territories inside Ukraine, even beyond the 4 oblasts that have been annexed by Russia. And the Russian army now is 2 kilometers away from the administrative borders of the Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, for example. So if Russia extends its areas of control into other parts of Ukraine and captures more territory, and this in tandem with the absence of American support, because the aid packages provided by the Biden administration are about to run out, the final installments will be given by the United States over the next few weeks, and then there will be no more aid from the United States. And Europe, as we said, and even Mr. Us agreed, will not be able to provide adequate military support. So then they will go back to a negotiating table in a few months, just with Ukraine in a much weaker position and with much more concessions to give that will hamper its sovereignty further. And I know Mr. Us is an economist, and I'm a big fan of his professional commentary, and he knows that. However, I do disagree with him on the part of the Russian economy being on the verge of collapse. We have read many reports at the beginning of this war that the Russian economy will crumble and will be destroyed within a few months. If anything, after 3 years, the Russian economy is growing. China is giving them a sustained lifeline by buying humongous amounts of energy, costing billions, tens of billions of dollars. And Russia, of course, is very well integrated into the trade structure with the global south in general. And even some European countries like Slovakia and others are interested in once again buying Russian cheap energy, because Europe is on the verge of an economic crisis. And even just a few days ago, the European Union vetoed a resolution at the end of the day that was proposing cutting Russian,
Yes.
European purchases of Russian liquefied natural gas. They backed down from
Mr.
that.
Osman, because we're short on time, if we could just also get...
I do not see any indicators of the Russian economy collapsing
Yes.
soon, Reham. That's my point.
I'm sorry, I had to cut you off there. It's just we need to get also Mr. Us's opinion on this, on what you just said, because we're running out of time. Sir, Mr. Us, what signals is Ukraine sending by rejecting the truce while offering a 30-day ceasefire proposal? You heard Mr. Osman, he does not totally agree with you when it comes to the Russian economy, but again, the Ukrainian economy must be hurt badly after years of fighting.
Of course, Ukrainian economy hardly actually threatened by the a lot of crisis, sorry. And of course, we understand that the situation is not the best, but Ukraine at least have partners in European Union, in Japan, in South Korea, in Canada. So it means that we have some forces that can help economically to our economy to survive. As for Russia, Russia have no such allies like Europe or Japan or South Korea. Of course, Russia has Northern Korea. Northern Korea gives a lot of shells, gives a lot of soldiers, but not economy. As for Russia, of course, Russian economy based on oil, and you know that according to Russian budget, the oil price should be $69.7 per barrel. As for Russian, the price for Russian oil now, 55 or so dollars. It means euros, not Brent, because Brent more expensive than euros. And that's why Russia are not receiving less money than they expect. Of course, they're receiving money. I agree with that. Nevertheless,
Yes.
why I mentioned about deficit of their budget,
Well,
because Russian reserves is the same as their budget, and you understand.